Margie.
And I'm Bonnie, and we have with us today our dear friend Speed. I've known Speed for over 20 years. I met him at a Rotary meeting I was speaking at. He hired me as his business coach. A couple of months into the coaching, I had to admit to him that I was starting to have feelings for him. We got romantically involved, and then I started working with him in his business. That went on for several years, and we discovered that it wasn't going to work out. It was a pretty tough transition that we ended up helping each other through and became the very best of friends, which is how come he's sitting with me today.
Hey.
And Bonnie introduced Speed to me, I don't know how many years ago, and then he came and took several workshops with me. And what I found is with each workshop, I became more attracted to him. And the last workshop that we did together, I found my behavior becoming very inappropriate and then stopped inviting him to workshops. And Bonnie and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about Speed and the workshop that was coming up, and I realized I wasn't inviting him because of my being afraid my behavior would become inappropriate for a workshop facilitator. So we decided to have this conversation around all that, and here we are.
And Speed, what's it like for you to be sitting in the
Oh
middle
boy, am I
of this?
glad I'm here. Oh yes.
Well, as per our conversations, the ones that you and I have, the nature of your work, Margie, and our conversations, the reason that we invited you is typically Margie and I as girlfriends might have a conversation about you, but you would not know. You know, there would be the wall here, I wouldn't say anything to you, and Margie certainly would either be inappropriate and awkward or not be around you. Our desire is to, for us as well as those listening, explore what it's like to trust this deeper knowing and love that we have for each other. And just be real with each other of what's going on. How do you be at our age with our upbringing and cultural background? How do you deal with it, Margie?
And what I'm finding is I used to have behavior that was very inauthentic, very manipulative, would get me what I wanted, and part of all this workshopping that we've done is to become an authentic person and not act like that anymore. So I find myself attracted to somebody and not knowing how to act, because my old behavior would have been just to go right after them, manipulate them, and get it however I wanted. And I really just don't know how to be in this situation and be authentic.
So you used to know what you want. Do you know what you want now, or is that part of the awkward edginess is?
Well, that's part of the discovery also. I just know there's an attraction that's more than mental and emotional. The physical attraction has come into it, and really not knowing how to behave. And I can feel myself blushing even as I'm saying all of this in front of Speed.
Yes, and what I found interesting was your comment. It started intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and as that fabric grew and got richer, the physical sexual attraction energy built. When we were growing up, it was especially as teenagers, young adults, it was the physical, the sexual excitement, and maybe if we're lucky, the other connections will emerge out of the physical. So in a way, part of what we're exploring is what do we base our what are we attracted to? Who am I? And what attracts me, and then what do I do with it? So it's bigger than what do I do with the attraction.
Well, this is true. I also noticed that part of the attraction is the emotional, the intimacy that we experienced at the workshops. And the more intimate our relationship became there, allowed for the physical attraction to come in. Because I find I'm not really physically attracted to much of anyone anymore, because I need that intimacy that we share when we do deep work together.
Yeah, part of life experience is getting over the stuff that doesn't matter. So I agree with that. In other words, gosh, I remember wanting a really fast car and then getting the really fast car and realizing that's not what I wanted. Sort of like that.
Yes.
And then so at some point with enough life experience we go, hey, what I want is a friend, someone that actually knows me and that I could be comfortable being known. So, and you know, that's kind of rare. In the workshop it may not be so rare, but workshop is a rare place. You know, it's a very intense 3 or 4 days, or 2 or 3 days together. And I remember there's some people that I met in the workshop I still think about as a friendship, in a way that, geez, how can you spend just 48 hours with somebody and consider them a friend then? But so, I think one of the benefits of being our age is that we've gotten our fast cars out of our system. And the authentic selves, we're interested in who we are. And I'm interested in spending time with people that know me already, and that I don't have to, be somebody else for. So I'm not sure how that fits in with what you were saying, but...
Well, a question for you. Knowing you means what? And where does vulnerability fit in to me knowing you? So over to you.
I don't think see, I have a problem with vulnerable, and I probably misunderstand what most people say when they say that. I don't feel that being around people, for example, one of my best friends from high school knows me every single, you know what I'm saying? We grew up together all through first grade through high school. So he knows me. And that's a relief. And I don't feel vulnerable. We could have a fight and I could beat the crap out of him, or he could beat the crap out of me. That's not vulnerable, but the relief is I don't have to be somebody else. And I don't have to hide the parts of me that I would normally hide from somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
But isn't that vulnerability? If
Maybe.
you don't, so that's, if vulnerability is I don't have to hide, I'm known and still loved and I know it. Margie, what's vulnerability to you? I mean, you say you feel vulnerable here.
I'm not really sure. For me, some of it is when I'm afraid, being able to stay and tell the truth. Because what happens for me, and I think it's because of my history, I was molested from 6 months old till about 4 and a half. Again when I was 11. I've been a prostitute. I've been very out there sexually and have some very skewed history. And coming back to trying to be authentic and tell the truth, my habit is to go into performance mode the second I get uncomfortable. Well, I have to feel really safe with someone to say, wait a minute, I'm scared, we need to just slow down here and let me be okay with you. And I have yet to be able to do that with anyone. But knowing Speed in the workshop, I thought perhaps that might be a place I could. But then afraid to even approach it, and I think rejection comes up, fear of being rejected.
Yeah.
So that's where I am in this moment.
And it's funny because I just started blushing just with, we're best friends, and there's still times that, that I wished it were different, that I wished we had more, and I am relieved that we don't, but there are times when you and I have amazing conversations, sometimes on an intellectually stimulating level. And sometimes, I'm just as raw and in the moment trying to find out and tease out and get to know parts of me, and doing that not physically naked but emotionally naked with you. And I know that you're safe for me to do that. As with you, there's something magical about being able to do that with a guy. And it's not a better or worse. It's just there's a different flavor to talking to you about another guy and feelings and asking your perspective than it is talking to you.
And another thing that I just realized it sitting here, is part of why I wanted this conversation, is that I realized whether you're interested on a physical level or not, I would still like to be friends with you. I would still like our relationship to be continuing. And it hasn't been, because this has been in the way.
Interesting. From your point of view, it hasn't been.
Right.
From my point of view, we're friends. So, interesting.
But we haven't been, I haven't
Spent
been over
time.
your house.
Right.
I haven't talked to you on the phone, so it hasn't been, okay, I would like an active friendship, because I do still feel like we're friends.
Yeah, we are.
Well, that's the friends that you're talking about. Is I've been naked with you, I've been real with you, I'm safe with you, my being is safe with you. Now I'd like to evolve with you. I'd like that safety to be the platform that I have with both of you, that we're now doing a three-way with, is our idea of that we're collaborating. You're used to doing your workshop, and it's your workshop, and you're up there, and it's your thing. I'm used to doing my thing. You're used to doing your thing, and we might talk about it. It's very different the way that we're right now, real time, handing back and forth. I have a high need for being center of attention. I've been feeling that walking in the woods for several years, and knowing that you guys love me, I can sit back and drink in how lovely it is to witness you. And so back to you. Hey, otherwise I would keep talking, and that doesn't do any of us any good.
Yeah, I really am at a loss for words right this second.
Well, then let's give it to the guy that has them stored up.
I could jump in a little bit. So, one of the things that I've been working on right now that relates exactly to what you're talking about, and it certainly relates to fear of new relationships, is getting my head out of my ass, being my history.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much easier to say it than to do it. And just recently, I've been making it a point to wake up in the morning and go, what the heck am I thinking of the first thing when I wake up? And does it have to do with what I want to do tomorrow? Or does it have to do with what happened yesterday? And just that one thing has really helped, because it's so easy for, I guess, anybody to dwell on what happened yesterday and think that we're going forward. I just heard a radio interview about this girl that wanted to forgive her parents. And the whole point of the interview was, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Even thinking about your parents. Do you want to go golfing this afternoon, or you want to think about your parents? And so getting up in the morning and asking myself, what is my attention on? And maybe some percentage of over 50%, if my attention is on what I want to have happen tomorrow, I'm in a different place. And that thing that you were talking about, the fear of maybe rejection,
Mhm.
We all have that for everything, not just personal relationships. Fear of failure, my new business plan might not work out. That disappears if my attention is on what I want. Just for those few moments, that fear goes away. So, I don't know about, I'm no expert about personal relationships, as you both know. I mean, you're not asking the right guy. But if it's healthier for me to really pay attention about where I'm focusing. Like, I have a couple really cool new ideas about something that could happen in the future with 3D imaging and, for example, people with partial paralysis on a limb using 3D imaging to help the brain grow new neural pathways. If I put my attention on that interest, a lot of fears disappear. So you know Amrit Desai, right? Bonnie's
Yes.
guru. He says the ability to forget is like one of the guru's abilities. It's like way up there. So if I can forget the other crap and put my attention on what I want to accomplish tomorrow, that's the best answer that I have for right now.
I keep getting stuck on your saying tomorrow.
Yeah.
The relief that I'm getting here and the relief that you and I have been working on is this moment. If I'm willing to be right here with you in this moment and trust this moment, tomorrow doesn't really ever get here. We're really living moment to moment. This is a new moment for us. I get what do I want, and I get the value of tomorrow. I just want to also add the importance of the being present right now, because it's right now that we feel uncomfortable. It's right now that my heart's beating faster, because I said, wait a minute, it's right now that you're giggling and blushing, not tomorrow.
And something that as you was talking about, is I don't have much problem being in today. I'm pretty much over the past, except when automatic behavior kicks in and I catch it. And in the physical intimacy department, every experience I've had up to this point since I've been discovering my more authentic self, authentic behavior has taken over and I've allowed it. So I haven't had a be present, be real, and say what's going on. I've just checked out and let the automatic behavior take over. And that's really only been a couple of times in the past 8 years.
Wait. That you let your past automatic behavior?
I let
okay.
As soon as the automatic
performance.
behavior came up, I just let it take over and went, oh, this will be over soon and I can leave.
Okay, so not that you wanted the automatic, just that you didn't know what to do and gave in to the automatic rather than sit with the uncomfortableness in the moment.
I was too afraid to address it at that moment.
And how is it right now with the three of us? Are you checking out and going to automatic, or are you...
No, I'm being pretty real in this moment, but this is just conversation. Nothing is really happening.
Got it.
And the other thing that I was going to say was that you were talking about reframing things in the morning. I do that also. I think that's part of the practice.
Yes.
And I'm fine with what I'm doing with me, but I come up with, and so how does that other person feel? How do I address that with them? So I just think that's where we are, and I don't know that we necessarily have to address it on camera.
It's interesting. It's interesting. That's an interesting phrase all by itself. I know when I feel an attraction to somebody that I've met walking, because I walk the woods every day, and there are regular people. Well, there are people who walk there regularly. Other experiences that there's an attraction. there's a little bit of the physical, there's also shared conversation, and I still don't know what to do. I'm aware of what I want, that I want it to be a multidimensional connection, yet I don't know that I hold back rather than blurt out, hey, I'm attracted, because I'm a pretty active person, and I jump in and I do things and I make things happen. For me to be in the moment and let what the moment is be without having to take control and make something happen is, sometimes I can't tell whether that's being more authentic or I'm so scared and I'm hiding. And so I think that part of what I hear us all saying is we know we're in transition from who we were and the automatic behaviors, thoughts, feelings that evolve based on our past. And then we know now that we don't want another fast car. We want a car that's reliable and comfortable, and we feel good with a relationship, a person, a group of people. We're still exploring, what do we do with that energy?
And I think that's a wonderful wrap-up.
Works for
Have
me.
anything to
Works
add?
for me.
Thank you both
Yeah,
so much.
thank
Yay,
you.
Speed. And thank you all for listening in with us.